So one of the things that when I really dove into looking at the grandmother hypothesis, the way I looked at that was that the culture needed the grandmother. She was pivotal for the whole tribal experience and the for generations to continue on. If you juxtapose that to what we do to postmenopausal women now, our society tosses women aside. And one of the things I want to redefine with aging is that actually, if women understood that in their postmenopausal years, if they understood their brain, if they understood this regeneration of energy that they were getting back, that they would see the importance that they had in the postmenopausal years. But our society doesn't look at that. So I am curious if things like Alzheimer's and dementia, if that happens, or this obsession with anti-aging that so many women have, if that is happening because we feel like we're going to be tossed aside by our culture. Whereas if you look at the Hadza, you look at our primal friends, that wasn't the case. You just moved to the next evolutionary need for the tribe. Do you have any feeling on that and how it compares to how we handle menopause today?
Well, I think the way we look at it today, I completely agree. Is I mean, I think it's really sort of creepy when I see older women who've had all this work and
Right.
would think they are 12, and I just I wish that isn't what was going on, but I understand
Great.
it, and all kinds of contexts in which the stuff that you need is actually controlled mostly by males, then finding ways to connect to males is a way to the stuff that you will need for your kids. And so the whole pattern of the kind of sexual division of labor in quote traditional societies that says, men go forth and bring home what then feeds the domestic worker that is mom. Well, in foraging societies, women are providing the crucial resources that are reliable and provide what the kids need. And again, It is not unusual in human societies to mark menarche, that there are various kind of ceremonial things around
ceremonies.
that. Yeah. But the general pattern, and there actually are a bunch of feminist ethnographers who would be, I mean, this is so interesting because I think the biology explains what they're talking about, but for the most part, they would say, no, get the biology out of here. This is just culture and do not, etc. But who have talked about, actually the role sex plays in the politics of what we call egalitarian societies. And egalitarian, they complain, and these are people who say, you talk about this society I study and call it egalitarian. It is not egalitarian. Really, the relative position of men versus women is really different. And there is a lot of sexual talk around everything that goes on politically. And the main thing men fight over is women and being dissed, because so this coming back to this thing that I was talking about where men competing for their reputation, the older guys are always ahead and then dominating the younger guys. And, there are all kinds of ethnographic examples of what the old men do to the young men to keep them in line, that's all part of the same story.
Wow. So when I hear that, I'm like, is feminism ever going to stick in a culture where we have this evolutionary design built within us, where the man is got this status and is bringing home the bacon, and the woman is the one trying to attract him? Like, when I hear you talk, I'm like, wait a second, whatever could happen in our human life that would make us equal is almost going against our evolutionary biology. And I hate to say that. Is that, what do you think of that?
I have this amazing student who, after the election, said, It's so horrifying to have been right. But we just saw
Right.
again the resurgence of patriarchy. I mean, it is, and look around the world. It's so
Right. It's around the
it
world.
it continually recurs, sometimes in just these really virulent forms, right? But
It's
it is
crazy.
also the case that there are places where it is not the case that the what the old men can do to the young men, and so all of these complicated conflicts of interest and trade-offs, they depend and they take different shape in different socioecologies. And I focus especially on the ones that are pre-Holocene because that's how we got to
Right.
be this animal. But the thing about recognizing that it's actually midlife menopause that, in a sense, is where patriarchy comes from. Realize
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
it's so important. It's just the center of so many things.
Yeah.
It's the thing about the socially precocious babies. That is a consequence of mom moving on and having another baby while you still can't do anything. And boy, if you don't
Right.
get somebody, come back, somebody, then that's curtains. And so that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing that Sarah
So
Hrdy
it's like
was,
a hierarchy.